Lagos, Nigeria, is a city where the heart of Africa beats relentlessly, day and night. It is a place where dreams are made, broken, and rebuilt. It is a place full of hope, energy, and complexity. On a Friday evening, one of the most vibrant nights in the city, La Belle Epoque restaurant stood tall at the heart of Victoria Island. Its sleek design and modern decor, juxtaposed against the hustle and bustle of Lagos' streets, created a haven of tranquility for those looking to indulge in fine dining. For Nora, it was a place she had visited many times with Ben, her long-term boyfriend. It had been their spot where they celebrated anniversaries, birthdays, and special moments in their journey together. Nora sat at their usual table by the window, sipping her wine and gazing out at the sprawling view of the Lagos skyline, the city lights shimmering against the evening sky. The ambience was perfect, romantic even, yet something was different tonight. Nora couldn't shake the feeling of unease creeping up on her. Ben was sitting across from her, wearing his usual charming smile. He looked as handsome as ever, his hair neatly styled and his blue suit hugging his frame perfectly. But tonight, his usual warmth seemed absent. There was a distance in his eyes that made Nora's heart ache. She tried to brush it off, convincing herself it was just her imagination. But deep down, she knew something was wrong. She tried to focus on the conversation, but Ben wasn't fully present. His attention kept shifting to his phone. Every time it buzzed, his gaze quickly darted to the screen, only to be redirected with a quick glance at her. When she noticed, he would apologize, smile awkwardly, and put the phone down for a moment, but then it would buzz again. Nora noticed his increasing restlessness. The night was supposed to be special, a time to reconnect, but she couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that Ben was hiding something. It wasn't the first time she had noticed him withdrawing. In the past few weeks, he had become more distant. He'd make excuses for being late, spending hours on conference calls, and even when they were together, his mind seemed to be elsewhere. Ben, is everything okay? Nora asked, trying to bridge the silence. She searched his face for any sign of the man she had once known, open, loving, and committed. She needed him to reassure her. She needed to know that their relationship hadn't fallen apart without her noticing. Ben looked up from his phone, offering a distracted smile. Yes, everything's fine. Just some work stuff. You know how it is. Nora nodded, but the words didn't ease the discomfort gnawing at her. She had learned over time to trust her instincts, and tonight they were screaming at her to dig deeper. The thought of confronting him terrified her, but the weight of the unspoken truth loomed large in the air between them. Their food arrived, but it tasted bland, the flavors lost on Nora as her mind raced. She was trying to push the thoughts away, but the uncertainty of their relationship sat like an elephant in the room. She looked at Ben, trying to catch his eye, but he was too busy with his phone. Her heart sank. As the evening wore on, Nora's attention was drawn to the entrance of the restaurant. A woman, tall, with striking features, entered the room. Her dress, a bright red number, was impossible to ignore. She moved with confidence, and as she passed Nora's table, her eyes flicked toward Ben. It was a fleeting moment, but Nora saw the recognition in Ben's eyes, the subtle tightening of his posture. The woman took a seat at a table across the room, but Ben's attention remained fixated on her. Nora felt a cold shiver run through her body as she watched him glance at the woman again and again. His gaze lingered longer than it should have. Nora's chest tightened, and she couldn't ignore the sharp pang of jealousy that hit her. She had seen this before, this subtle shift in Ben's behavior whenever another woman entered the scene. He had always been a flirt, but this felt different. The woman smiled in Ben's direction, and Nora felt her stomach drop. Her mind raced with the possibilities. Could he be seeing her behind her back? Had this woman been a part of their lives for a while now, quietly invading their relationship. Nora didn't want to believe it, but everything in her gut told her otherwise. I'll be right back, Nora muttered, excusing herself from the table. She needed air, space to think and process the discomfort and growing suspicion swelling inside her. She could feel her heart pounding as she made her way toward the restroom, each step heavy with the weight of uncertainty. The mirror in the restroom seemed to reflect all her emotions. She took deep breaths, trying to calm her racing heart. She couldn't be paranoid. She couldn't jump to conclusions, but as the minutes passed, her suspicions only grew. There was no denying what she had seen. Ben had been watching that woman, looking at her with interest, something he hadn't done to Nora in weeks. She quickly composed herself and returned to the table, only to find that Ben was still absorbed in his phone. The woman across the room was now standing by the bar, her hand lightly touching Ben's arm. The sight stung, and Nora felt her chest tighten with anger and hurt. She didn't need to see any more. The truth was clear. Ben was cheating on her. Nora stood up abruptly, her legs shaking beneath her. She walked towards Ben, her voice trembling with a mixture of hurt and anger. Ben, we need to talk. Now. Ben looked up, his face momentarily betraying shock, but he quickly recovered. Nora, not now. Please, not here. But Nora wasn't going to wait any longer. She had stayed silent for too long, giving him the benefit of the doubt, hoping he would open up. But the time for patience had passed. She needed the truth, no matter how painful it was. Who is she? Nora demanded. Her voice was low but firm, as though she had finally found her resolve. She needed him to admit it, to acknowledge the betrayal that was now so evident. Ben's face turned pale. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The woman at the bar had been watching them. She slowly turned to face Nora, her expression unreadable. Nora's heart raced as she realized what was happening. This woman wasn't just someone Ben had met casually. She was a part of his life, and now Nora was forced to confront the painful truth that the life they had built together was nothing but a facade. I don't have time for your excuses, Ben, Nora said, her voice cracking with emotion. You've been lying to me, and I can't pretend anymore. I saw you looking at her. I saw the way you've been acting. I deserve more than this. Ben finally found his voice, but it sounded weak. Nora, I don't. Nora cut him off, her chest tightening with emotion. I don't want to hear it. You've already done enough. I'm done. Without another word, Nora turned and walked out of the restaurant, her heart heavy with betrayal and heartbreak. She had trusted Ben with everything, and now that trust was shattered, the world around her seemed to fade as she stepped out into the cool night air, the weight of the truth pressing down on her shoulders. She didn't know where to go, what to do next. The pain was unbearable. But as she drove through the empty streets of Lagos, she realized that she had to let go. She had to move forward, even though it felt like her world had been torn apart. She couldn't stay with someone who didn't respect her, someone who had lied and betrayed her. In the days that followed, Nora's emotions were a whirlwind. She couldn't bring herself to speak to Ben. Every call, every message from him went unanswered. She didn't want to hear his excuses. What did his words matter now? He had chosen his path, and she wasn't going to be dragged down with him. Instead, Nora threw herself into her work, her friends, and her family. She began to rebuild the pieces of her life that had been shattered. She took long walks along the beach, rediscovered old hobbies, and spent more time with the people who loved her. Slowly, she found herself healing. The pain still lingered, but with every passing day, it became a little easier to bear. Her friends supported her unconditionally, reminding her of her worth. They made sure she knew that this betrayal didn't define her. She was strong, she was worthy of love and respect, and with each word of encouragement, Nora began to see herself through new eyes. She found solace in small things, the quiet moments of peace, the laughter shared with friends, the satisfaction of getting back to her passion. She realized that life didn't have to be defined by Ben. She had the power to create her own happiness, and she wasn't going to let his actions take that away from her. Ben, on the other hand, found himself in a spiral of regret. He had lost the woman who had been everything to him, and it was his own selfishness that had driven her away. He tried reaching out to Nora, but each message was met with silence. He had no one to blame but himself. He had betrayed her trust in the worst way possible. As the days turned into weeks, Ben realized that no amount of regret would bring Nora back. She had moved on, and he was left to reflect on the choices he had made. He had taken her for granted, assuming she would always be there. But now she was gone.